Starting with that breaking news from the White House, where US President Donald Trump has announced that Israel and Sudan have now agreed to normalise their relations. Sudan now becoming the third Arab nation this year to do such a deal. This was after Donald Trump had told Congress that he will remove Sudan from a list of state sponsors of terrorism. That removal from the list has been a top priority for Sudan's transitional government as it tries to revive its economy. So let's start with Alan Fisher, who's at the White House for us this Friday. Hi, Alan. Take us through this. Well, one by one, we'll do the peace. Sorry, not peace deal. The normalising of relations first between Israel and Sudan.
Well, it's all coordinated, and it goes back to the fact that talks were going on between Sudan and the United States about compensating people who've been designated victims of terror that was perpetrated by Sudan because it was designated a state sponsor of terrorism. Sudan agreed to pay $355 million. That's now been put in an account that will be paid to those who were involved in the East African embassy bombings a number of years ago, the attack on the USS Cole, and also the killing of a US aid worker in Sudan several years ago. Once that was done, that then paved the way for Donald Trump to send a letter to Congress to say that he was going to remove Sudan as a state sponsor of terrorism. And that, once that was done, that then cleared the way for Israel to take its step forward and say that it was going to normalise relationships with Sudan, as you say, becoming the third country this summer to do so after the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. It's clear that Israel wouldn't have been able to take that diplomatic step had this country, a Muslim country in Africa, of course, been still on the US list for countries that were state sponsors of terrorism. So by taking away that obstacle, it made it possible. And clearly, Sudan will benefit from both Israel and the US. In fact, just in the last day or so, a second aid flight has taken off from Israel for Khartoum, which hadn't been happening in previous months.
We're going to West Jerusalem, though, with Harry Fawcett for some reaction from the Israelis. Harry.
Yes, well, we know that Benjamin Netanyahu was on this call. We know that there was or reports at least of an senior Israeli delegation that visited Sudan earlier this week. It was first spotted as a familiar Israeli business jet that was making a familiar route. And it was then reported in the local media that, yes, this was further indications of this brewing deal. And so the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu now has his third normalization deal with an Arab country. It's something that he has been pushing for most of his current period in office. This second time round that he was Prime Minister of Israel beginning in 2009, he's constantly been working towards these sorts of deals with regional Muslim Arab powers. And within the space of a couple of months, this is number 3. So this will be another foreign policy victory as far as Benjamin Netanyahu is concerned. However, this is obviously something that he will want to prevail upon the Israeli public to see that he is making good on some of these international policy pledges. At the same time, his own party's popularity in the polls has been plunging because of the coronavirus crisis in this country. So it'll have to be seen how much of an impact this makes locally. But yes, another of these major deals. And as Alan was just saying, of course, the big prize, as far as the Israelis are concerned, is Saudi Arabia. That doesn't necessarily look immediately closer because of this one extra deal. But obviously, there is a direction of travel, which the Israeli government is extremely happy to talk about. In terms of not having to have done anything as far as the Palestinian question is concerned, not having to have given up any territory, not having to have come to any kind of a resolution, and yet managing to get these deals done.